Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Breakdown. So this topic I thought of after Abdullah sent me, what was it, an AI trailer of a Forrest Gump sequel.
Forrest Gump 2. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
I
thank
forgot
you.
Why are
Mike.
you so obsessed with Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
So, okay, just small. Have you watched Forrest Gump?
Of course.
Okay, so I'll tell you, my favorite part about the entire movie was not...
Him running?
No, nothing. I love running, just for context. No. My favorite part was they're like, oh, he has like a lot of knowledge because he's running and all this. And he gets like a cult following behind him. And then he stops and they're like, oh, he's about to say something. And he goes like, I'm tired. That southern accent. For me, that was the highlight of the entire
I was
movie.
waiting to see. I don't know where he was going with
Yeah.
this.
I was
Ibad and I looked at each other and we're like, did you watch the same movie that we did?
I genuinely for a minute I was like, that's not Forrest Gump.
No, I'm telling you, I can't tell you that movie, like that one part, just it sat with me so well.
No one ever in
We
the
don't have
history
to.
of watching
We don't have to
this.
mention which movie, but have you guys seen the Bollywood remake? I don't know if we can talk
There's
about
a-
Bollywood
of
movies.
course
we
you
won't.
can.
There's a
Oh, so we
Forrest
can.
Gump remake?
Yeah, it's called Lal Singh
Oh!
Chadda. Amir Khan.
I have not
I've
seen
not
it.
watched it.
Please watch it tonight. It's on Netflix.
It's excellent.
Watch
I
it,
will.
and
It's
then I want to
actually-
know how you feel about remakes and
That's
stuff.
fascinating.
Lal
That's
Singh Chadda,
fascinating
Amir
that you
Khan.
bring up because I mean, I'd never thought of Forrest Gump as a franchise. Now we know it kind of is in a weird way.
No, but then to be fair, if we're looking at it from that perspective, then isn't every Hollywood movie a franchise because Bollywood
It
is
has
kind of
copied
copied
it.
it?
Agreed, fully agreed. But for
Fair.
this officially,
Fair.
by the way, they got the rights and everything to make it an Indian
That's
remake.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
And instead of chocolates, there were laddus.
Yes, they were actually laddus. I think they were, if I'm not
way.
mistaken,
Yeah,
yes,
I
they were
love that.
laddus. And but for knowledge, it was a very big flop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Since then, Amir Khan is like,
That's
do
why I
want
never
to do-
watched it.
Fair.
Oh,
I
by the way,
guess.
speaking of Amir Khan, I think today he announced
Yeah.
that he's retired. Yeah.
Wait, no way.
Yeah.
He said that I am retiring from film, but you never know. He might
Yeah.
just make
A
A good
Maybe
script
good-
comes out. Yeah.
That's
he'll-
what
he'll-
Abdullah said when I read the news out.
Oh, yeah, you told
But
me.
also, it was not from a factual news source. So,
Oh, speculation.
so this may or may not be the first place you're hearing about this.
He might be pulling like a Denzel Washington situation, gave 4 or
Yeah.
5 movies, and then
No,
I
No,
will
Denzel
retire.
Washington
Denzel
said that Black
Washington-
Panther 3 will be his final
His
movie.
final, yeah.
That's
That
crazy.
is also breaking news today.
Wow. At 89.
Yeah, apparently. So with
Yeah.
that being said, in Hollywood, Forrest Gump is not a franchise, it's a standalone movie.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking after seeing the AI trailer because of what it was Timothy Chalamet as
Yeah,
his
as
son
his
or
son,
something.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
interesting concept, but I don't know. So I was thinking of movies that would kill their franchise. So I mean, I can't imagine Forrest Gump having a sequel. So it just got me thinking about everything else. So I was sort of like going through all the reasons why it could possibly. So I have a couple. First is just a general like rise and fall of like a franchise. Sometimes it just comes to an end, like it just loses steam. Then we have franchise fatigue. We have overuse of CGI, which Abdullah is very sentimental about.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that. But also, like, rise and fall of his franchise. I mean, most of these, they rise because they make the first movie.
Yeah.
And then they fall because they don't know where to stop. Look at Fast and Furious. What are we on the 10th, 11th
Yeah,
one?
I lost count. I can't remember the last one I
I
watched.
won't lie. I really like Fast and Furious 5, 6. Like I thought they were going well. I think it was 8 in which they went to space.
They were
in
to
cars.
space?
Watching
Yeah.
till 8?
Till they went to
They went to
8 and
space?
they went to
Why have I
space in
not
a
seen
car.
this?
And that's when I drew the line personally. I was like, bro, सब कुछ ठीक है. You can fly from Burj Khalifa to the other
another building.
and it's all okay. Space is like Elon Musk. Elon Musk पागल है ना जो he's trying to make a rocket. Why didn't you just sit with Vin Diesel? Ooh. Like that's
Listen,
just
there's family in space also, okay?
there's family everywhere, of course.
Agreed.
I'm glad you brought that up because in terms of like a creative direction, are there creative directions where you could actually be like, okay, I just single-handedly murdered like a multi-billion-dollar franchise?
I don't know.
Yes.
Tell me, Abdullah, Spider-Man, do you think they're getting any more creative in life?
I think they're getting very creative.
For God's sakes.
For your kind information, I'm so sorry.
Man in
Did you-
tights, running around, jumping off buildings. How much more
I
creative can
am
you
with
get?
Abdullah on this one. I'm with you. Please
Thank
continue.
you.
Please continue.
Have you not seen the last one, Spider-Man No Way Home? In that, all the Spider-Man from all the Spider-Verses,
Whoa!
and they recreated the meme.
Wait, hang on.
Which is technically a franchise,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, of the whole multiverse thing that Marvel
Sure.
was on.
Yeah.
So they basically weren't creative. They just
None
picked
at
up
all.
Marvel boss said, listen, from now on, all movies are going to
I'm
have
a massive Marvel
multiverse.
super fan, and me and Ilham will discuss this further when I bring up another franchise that I'm also a fan of. I'd like to preface by saying,
Wait for
but
it.
for me, No Way Home was just nostalgia thrown at me, and I was expected to say the movie was amazing just because there were all three in it. Like there was
Just because.
100%.
because. Like I enjoyed
100%.
it, but it
But
wasn't
they made
like
money. They made money. The loyal fans
Why are they
loved
making
it.
money? Because they're bringing in
Yeah.
all the old Spider-Man
But
actors and putting
who
them in one
cares?
place.
As a film, if I'm watching and I get a smile on my face, whether it's because you have someone doing an item number or it's because the story is amazing, I enjoyed the film, right?
Yeah, I'm with Abdullah on
And
this one.
that as a viewer, I've enjoyed it, and that is how they make money.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
original question was,
Rise and
is
fall.
creativity dead?
yes.
Rise and fall.
Now, with specifically when I thought of this, I thought of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Andrew Garfield, in my opinion, was the best Spider-Man. In my opinion.
No.
And The Amazing Spider-Man 2 just kind of, when I watched it, I was like, ugh. And like, it was fine, but then it just died. Like, it took a while for it to come back again. So it's like, even as something like Spider-Man, it's not immune, right? Like, they had to constantly reboot it. And then another sort of factor is, are too many reboots also a bad thing? And like, too many reboots, in fact, kill the franchise before it even gets going again.
100%.
Yeah, I think Fast and Furious was
Spider-Man,
the best.
the biggest example
yeah.
of too many reboots.
No, but
a
Spider-Man's
reboot
been
in my
doing
my
well.
lifetime. There've
Every
been
three movies, there's a new guy.
Yeah, there's three generations of Spider-Man happened in my lifetime
Guys,
alone.
I think if you guys want to have this topic on a serious note, you should also take into consideration stuff like first it was I think Sony that had it, then it was
It's still
Columbia
Sony.
Pictures.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah,
it's
before it was
still
Columbia
Sony.
Pictures. What I'm trying to say is they've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
a lot of different
Yeah.
companies go through the rights of
But see,
Spider-Man.
that's another point that I have here. Funny enough, I was prepared. Is that studio politics has a big impact on what gets pushed forward, right? Because they want to say that
100%.
under my reign as president, I had this many successes, right? But it's like, again, where's the creativity?
but
Same villains.
hello,
just
there
no,
is
recasted.
different villains.
Green
Bro, look
Goblin
at-
came back again.
Bro, Green Goblin came back right now again and again. William Dafoe played it, the same guy.
Yeah, no,
That's
I
beauty.
appreciate
They're not
that.
like just sending someone new.
I appreciate that, but it's
Yeah.
like,
No, I thought it was
I don't know.
beautiful. Like, tell me, as a Spider-Man fan, Ibad,
I'm not a
did
Spider-Man.
you
with you,
not?
brother.
You were sitting in the cinema when you saw Green Goblin
like,
come.
Green Goblin.
Dr. Octopus, you're like,
Okay, Doc Ock I was
Yeah,
because
so-
I love the guy,
so
but
exactly.
that's about it.
See,
And-
देखो, there
But
must
again,
be a
it's fan
reason that
service.
Tobey Maguire did 3, right? ठीक है. Then Andrew Garfield came, he did 2, right?
Contract.
Injustice.
Contracts.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
Yeah.
Contractual obligation.
But the
In
last
the
one was
third, in
not.
the third Tobey Maguire one, he was miserable. You could tell him his face. He was like, "Get me
No,
out
I'm
of this."
sorry, but
that
the
was the
movie was.
Venom.
I'm sorry,
That
the
was the
movie also
Venom.
And
was very
imagine
good.
Strings did the song also. Yeah?
हाँ,
I mean,
ठीक है.
मतलब, you know,
Full
they were
credit
engaging
is-
all cultures.
I mean,
all over the world.
Scott
they
did
did
the
the
song for the
official.
second one.
Bro,
They
Spider-Man
did
fan.
the official
Yeah.
song.
No, Strings did.
Yeah, Strings did.
Say for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was with the trailer, Spider-Man jumping towards
Yeah.
MJ
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Peache
Yeah.
Strings. Faisal Kapadia singing the song
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
Bilal
It was
is
very,
there.
it was pretty rad. Not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
yeah,
It
yeah.
They
was.
included Pakistan well before Miss Marvel.
One
Yeah.
They
thing,
knew I
one
was
thing,
there.
like from my end, one genuine thing I'll add is that I get what you guys I get what they're saying about Spider-Man and all of that, but with the new Spider-Man, the No Way Home, and now fourth part in 2026 summer, I would just say now there is more creativity to answer your question. I'll tell you how, what I think, and Abdullah might agree with me. The concept of multiverse, the concept of bringing that nostalgia, connecting like 3 different Peter Parkers all in one movie, I feel like that is creative. In terms of creative budget spending also, I'm sure it wasn't cheap for them to get all these
At
actors
all.
in
It was-
one
it
movie.
was like, what,
right?
$300 million
So
to make?
they are trying their best to, in whatever way in their capacity, be more creative. Ilham's looking at me like she's going to kill me because she doesn't agree with me.
No,
but
I'm coming up with my but. Let me
Abdullah,
just
do you agree
burst
with me?
that
Do
bubble.
you
I
guys get what-
completely agree with
Okay,
him.
I
my
don't
turn.
completely agree.
My
Their
turn.
turn, their turn.
My turn. There's 2 aspects. One is creativity within the script and within the storyline and whatnot. I feel like there is no creativity left anymore because they have beaten that poor little Spider-Man to death. It's the
No.
same concept, the same everything,
Like-
just the faces and the actors.
There's a
No,
difference.
name
Yeah.
one thing that's similar apart from his Uncle Ben being dead,
And
which is
Aunt-
a character
Aunt
trait.
May
and this
being
one,
dead.
Aunt May. No,
But
no
it was-
Uncle Ben.
So she was.
No, but like it was the same
Okay.
thing. With great power comes great responsibility. The same quote is used again
The
because
comic
it's so
book
iconic. But
has
how many
been
times do you use
around for over 50 years.
Hmm.
it? Since
I
the
don't-
40s, no?
Yeah, it's been around
No,
forever.
60s, sorry.
You can bring in other characters also. Why are you beating the same old characters?
there's so
bringing in
many
the same villains?
more.
You can do it in a different way.
No, and they
I'll give you
are.
an example.
With Dr. Doom.
One example. Forget all of this. Have you seen the animated series?
Hated it.
Huh?
Yeah, now say Miles Morales. Hated
My-
it.
The hair I
Now
will
see,
disagree with you.
that
I
was
love it.
really creative.
It was my favorite.
Because it wasn't Peter Parker anymore. He's still
Naam change kar diya.
Spider-Man.
But that
No. Background
No,
and
yeah,
story
yeah,
also
100%,
changed.
100%.
Storyline,
Listen.
background, the animation, everything.
That was
You're,
I'll
you're
tell you.
putting in $300 million.
Yeah.
Might as well do something cool.
Might as well.
Woi
Yeah.
CGI
I'm
swinging
so
from
sorry.
the
So are you calling?
Empire State Building. Usko Japan le jao yaar.
Yeah.
Ek second. 300.
Godzilla also came to the US eventually.
No,
Three-
Godzilla's another
No.
franchise.
Wait, one
another
second, one
franchise
second.
that's still going is Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'm not sick of it yet, though, I'm not
$300
gonna lie.
Because they haven't killed the franchise because they
Yeah.
keep doing something new every
yeah,
time.
each time it's a
I think
new
the audience
thing.
is also to blame here, right? People are going and
That's
watching
what I'm
Fast
saying.
10, Fast 11, Godzilla coming
not
to
the- can I be
everywhere
honest?
in the world.
There's
Taj Mahal
so-
ke aage Godzilla
But see,
laga
look,
hua hai.
the thing is that there's so many big blockbuster movies. I know indie films. At least in Pakistan, you're not gonna watch the indie films that come out of anywhere else.
I'm
right?
gonna disagree with you there.
Of course, they're gonna watch the big movies that come here. I have nothing else to watch. I literally have nothing else to
are
watch.
watching indie films, but they're watching indie Pakistan films.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But I would like to I remember when I was in New York, I would go to indie theaters who would not have any of those big studio movies and just the smaller ones. And there's so much more creativity out there. We don't see any of the
But would
creativity
you
because
see
it's
the
never
3 Spider-Man
highlighted.
there?
And sorry, just to
wouldn't. I
answer
wouldn't
what
actively
Ilham
do
was saying, and then maybe we can move on to another franchise from Spider-Man,
Yeah.
because I feel like we could go on and
There's
on,
the
especially me and
plenty.
you. I would like to add here, Ilham, that maybe their producers, their creative minds think that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Peter Parker, when he was in high school, as they show, times were different, so they had something different to show and say. Same with Andrew Garfield. That was, I would say, more my generation high school type. Now with this guy,
It's Gen Z.
it's Gen Z, so all their jokes, all their story, all their applying, and
So
then
they're
and
getting creative with the actor basically
Yeah,
because they're
they're
playing
not-
themselves
and the
essentially.
story.
No, not playing themselves. I'm
Eh.
just going to add there one last thing. Tom Holland, to play Spider-Man, went undercover to study in a high
Yes,
school in the US just to get into
My
character.
man.
One of my
My
friends,
man. Yeah?
one of my friends
And
from uni
Austin
graduated
Butler
from that
also-
high school, by the way.
Lucky, yeah.
And
And apparently he told people that, oh, I'm going to play Spider-Man. They're like, yeah, sure. And no one believed him, and now he's probably
Because he
like,
looks
Austin
like a bacha, and Austin Butler also spoke like
Was it Sting?
no
Elvis.
for like
Oh,
a
sorry.
year. They
No.
all do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Act-
Yeah.
That's a thing that
That
actors
you
do.
kinda
It's called
have to do
method
that.
acting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not
but
saying that, but I'm saying the fact that he went as a kid in a US school to do that, he's not playing himself, he's playing the modern kid of the
Okay, I'm
American
sorry. I'm
Spider-Man
gonna
kid.
cut the Spider-Man
Yeah,
argument
fair
right here
enough,
because
yeah.
I feel like that was not at all
Yeah,
relevant to
we're
the
going- we're
franchise.
going
But
completely
good
off the
point. Thanks for
franchise.
bringing it up.
Thank you.
Now, speaking of backlash against prequels, sequels, Star Wars.
God's sakes. I told you not to bring up
Episode
Star
1, The
Wars.
Phantom Menace from 1999. I am a massive Star Wars fan. One of the first movies I ever watched was Star Wars. In my mind, if anyone craps on Star Wars, not a vibe. That said,
You're saying that?
that said, episodes 1, 2, and 3, or 4, 5, and 6, if you're going chronological order, they weren't the best.
Hey,
They were not
You're
the
about
best.
to make Ilham angry, so may
I
the
want
force
to-
be with you.
I want to make Ilham angry.
what do you mean they weren't the
They weren't
best?
the best.
Okay, to be
Compared
fair,
to the original trilogy.
yeah, fine. The original trilogy was the original for a reason because no one had ever seen something like that
Yeah,
before.
nothing at all.
Right? Even the basic of animation and stuff that they use, which now when we
Groundbreaking.
make our nieces and nephews watch it and they're just like, what is this? Like he's literally holding
No, so
just
my question is not in terms of debating what could George Lucas have changed. In terms of because there was so much pressure for it to be fantastic. In the beginning, when it first came out, people hated it because it had to live up to that hype.
Right.
Right.
You're
It had to
talking
live up
about
to
the next three.
Yeah.
So apart from the original trilogy,
Yeah.
the next three
Yeah, the
that
next
came
three,
out,
yeah.
there was a lot of pressure. And of course, there was a lot of pressure on the cast as well, even though it was a full star-studded
Yeah.
cast.
It was a fantastic cast.
It was. I mean, apart from one or two people.
Who
You know.
I'm interested. No,
You
because
know.
Hayden Christensen has been redeemed.
For God's sakes.
He has been
He
redeemed.
really hasn't.
He has been redeemed.
I mean, he's... No.
He was really bad in the movies, I admit. But he's been
He's
redeemed
the only
in
one.
the
He's the only
Obi-Wan
one
series.
who really got... I mean, but again, he was playing a role, right?
No, so what's the verdict? You're saying that Star Wars destroyed the...
No, it's for a while there was a serious blip. Do I like 8, 9 and was it no 7, 8, 9? that just came out, it's the same thing as what happened in the original trilogy, just in different.
But again, I feel like people are putting way too much pressure because it came out after so long. There's a whole decade in between.
Yeah.
So because it came out after so long, the expectations from all Star Wars fans, I think after the original trilogy, everyone automatically had high expectations for anything and everything.
Actually, I think
but now
the reason why 7, 8, 9 did a lot better is because people were with no expectations. Because they waited
it's a
for
whole
a
new
while.
generation they're also talking to, right?
Yeah.
Look at all the TV shows that have kind of spun off,
which are far better than
series.
than the last couple of movies, in my opinion.
Again, that's a whole other episode. Is TV better than movies? But I would say that no, not really. It you get to do a lot more with TV. You get to spend a lot more time watching, following the characters and their journeys and doing the backstory and whatnot. Whereas with film, you're limited.
Yeah, you're limited to about the 2-hour window.
I mean, I'm sure they shot a lot more that landed up on the cutting room floor. So
I've never watched Star Wars.
oh my god.
God!
That's why I was like, how is it possible that Abdullah Malik is sitting silently?
Yeah,
It's not possible.
I'm very lost in this. I know
I'm done
one
with
thing
that.
about
I'm
this.
gonna walk out of this.
Yeah, no, honestly,
No,
yeah.
what I think
I feel like I want to move on
No,
before you say
but
something.
no, I'm gonna
Yeah, I will
Seriously.
actually
Give him a
walk
chance.
out.
Give him
No,
a chance.
segue into the next one with the fact that the only thing I know about Star Wars is I studied in university how brilliantly they did CGI.
Fair.
And that's the next step where it was overuse of...
overuse of CGI, which is one. Now, the best thing about what made Star Wars, I mean, aside from the story, the original trilogy, was the fact that they used practical effects. They had no CGI at that time, right? So, it like, if anything, it still kind of looked real. Like, I watch it now and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, I can't find a fault in it. And then I'm going to bring up Marvel, which is really funny. But the recent, last few Marvel movies, the CGI has been awful. Like, it's I can't
Are you and I both thinking about She-Hulk?
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you. And I'm actually thinking about the last Thor.
Oh.
Like, some of the little bits and
So,
bobs is really weird.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't think anyone will fight me on this, but they ruined Thor. They ruined Thor.
No.
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 Love and Thunder.
No.
Love and Thunder all the way.
I loved Ragnarok more than Love and Thunder, but I love Goofy Thor.
Yeah.
I love Goofy Thor.
Yeah.
Not. I'm sorry. I can't. The minute
She was
they got rid of his.
man.
No, they got rid of his abs. That was I stopped
They did?
watching.
Nee, वापस
Oh,
आ
no,
गए.
it came
In the
back.
last one, it came back.
But I stopped watching when
See,
they
it's
gave him
also-
a bare belly.
It's
I
also
stopped
Marvel is
watching.
realizing the formula.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of Deadpool-esque
Yeah.
in every
Humor.
character.
Yeah.
Make them a little funny, witty, so the audience will engage with it. It's just a formula. They're getting money off of it. And also, just to add, I know none of you here probably are going to be watching Tamil movies, but the CGI in Tamil movies, I'm all for it.
Same.
I am all for it. The
Same.
way the tiger approaches you, I sit up in my bed and I'm like, oh, shoot. So
Actually, when I was doing my thesis on a fly and we were doing CGI and all, they said there's a Makki, there's
You
a film
made a
called
short
Makki
film. Yeah, you made
in
a-
Tamil.
Yeah.
And I watched it and the CGI is insane. Like the Tamil...
but wo kiski copy hai? The B movie.
No.
Yeah.
I did not
I
know
can't tell
that.
if you're kidding or not.
No. The Makki is official Tamil remake of the B movie, but no rights taken, just a remake.
वैसे,
I like this.
Like
this.
the DreamWorks, the B movie from 2006?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna fight with you, Sharmeen. You said that the CGI in the Marvel films lately have not been good.
Yeah, they
Hasn't been
haven't.
good. It has not
but
been
if
good.
you look at again Spider-Man No Way Home, if you found out what all in that movie, do you know the street that they walk on in the movie?
No, I'm with you.
CGI.
I know that they use a
We're
lot
not
of
saying
CGI.
that
That's not what I'm
all
saying.
of the movies are bad. We're
Yeah.
saying that
Some
the
of them.
recent ones,
Yeah,
No, but
some
they're all
of
low
them-
budget.
So
the
no,
ones you
I read
guys
an
have
article.
mentioned.
No, I read an
She-Hulk was
article.
low
She-Hulk was
budget.
bad.
But it was
She-Hulk-
considered
it was
like the
not low
No, no.
budget.
yeah,
was-
it was not their main contender in my
No,
opinion.
but it
Low
doesn't
budget is
matter.
this episode.
Yeah.
This is very high budget of
No,
me.
but
They
I
have
read an
stars
article.
and
Abdullah, I
cast.
read an article
Yeah.
that basically because Marvel's schedule of release schedule was so intense that their actual CGI studio complained that they didn't have enough people
That's
or
so
enough time to do it.
possible.
So that's why initially people have pointed out, if you Google it, Thor Love and Thunder, there's a scene where I won't say what, but the character appears and the hologram appears really wonky. It looks really bad. You wouldn't expect it to. It was standing out. It was that bad. And that's when articles started coming out saying, excuse me, what's going on here? And then apparently, like
And I think they
unrevealed
have
sources
slowed
said,
it down now.
yeah,
Their
they have.
release. They
And
have.
it's if anything, I hope it helps their creativity and their CGI.
No, their
because
creativity is
their
fine.
output that they had for the last couple of years was like 5 movies a year, 10. It was
Yeah.
insane.
It was getting
I've
intense.
lost
Nuts.
track of what TV show I
You
was
know, can
on.
I just say I've not watched Thor,
Love and Thunder?
Ragnarok, whatever.
Oh my
No,
God.
I've not watched these because they would come out with such pace.
Like
I'd be like,
gusto.
bro, I don't have time.
I think forget Lal Singh Chadda today. You go Star Wars. You go start Thor.
I'll tell you the amount I love Forrest Gump. I will watch Lal Singh Chadda first tonight. I will not come to
I
work without
don't
watching
want
it.
him to watch Star Wars. He'll ruin it.
Yeah.
Why would I
Could be.
ruin it?
Because I know you.
Also, don't watch Star Trek either. Don't ruin that.
Oh, I've not even watched Star Trek. Yeah.
Hallelujah, thank God.
No.
Star Trek.
Basically, this podcast should be the education of Abdullah
Abdullah.
Malik.
No, so what's the verdict from the beginning? Abhi on a
Franchise?
Yeah,
Franchise?
Spider-Man was a yay or nay? Matlab,
I mean, we can't really yay or nay
no,
it,
but
right?
still, like
We can't really, because I still watch them.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
so
I'll
they-
watch them. If
so
a
they're
new
somewhere
one
in the
comes out,
middle,
I'll watch
somewhere
it.
in the middle for you too,
I'll
right?
watch it, but honestly, Spider-Man, I don't think Spider-Man died that hard as some of the other ones have.
Okay, let's look at, speaking of like in the same Marvel vein, Fantastic Four, which is now finally getting reboot after 20 years. Hallelujah. That, I mean, they did, what 20th Century Studios now did a reboot in 2015. Which nobody even remembers because it was just that bad.
Yeah.
It was
I didn't
the
know
one with
that.
Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan, and I can't even remember the other 2 cast members. I'm so
I've
sorry.
not even
No,
heard
it was
of this.
terrible.
But it was so bad, and it
Yeah.
wasn't just a story. Like, I feel bad for the actors because the actors themselves are amazing, but it just looked weird. Like Fantastic Four has always been supposed to be like fun, and they
Yeah.
decided to go dark. Now, in the same way, I have another point here: does creative direction go wrong sometimes?
100%.
When they go dark.
Another Marvel and an actually DC movie. 2 DC movies Abdullah mentioned.
A lot of DC.
Yeah, they went dark,
DC
right?
to have
Justice
nothing.
League.
Okay, so
Same.
what they did
Yeah.
was
Don't
DC
know
when they
anything.
started
Justice
their
League.
yeah, but when they when DC relaunched and started
Yeah.
going hard on film, DC did not do as well as Marvel
No,
on film.
from the
Okay,
beginning,
but
they never did.
For TV, they were killing it.
Oh yeah.
But why were they killing it? Because they went dark with TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of
And people
their
like that.
new
Yeah.
series,
People
and
like
people
watching that.
really
No, but
enjoyed
it
Penguin
made-
ko dekhe
It
aap.
Penguin,
made
yeah, I was just
sense
gonna
for
say.
TV though.
No,
Like they went
Daredevil.
dark.
Daredevil.
Yeah. No, Daredevil
Daredevil
is
the Marvel character.
Marvel. Sorry, no, not Daredevil.
Gotham.
Gotham and all the other the Arrow, the entire Arrowverse, they went dark too.
They were pretty
Apart
dark.
from I think Flash,
Flash
the
was
rest
all
of
right.
Arrowverse was pretty dark until then they had the other really terrible ones, but which we all watched.
But I mean, it's like I'm in terms of like they went good. I mean, DC worked better for TV for some reason. It just worked. I guess because Marvel wasn't doing TV at the time either. It was just DC.
Marvel
DC
tried,
had more of a
but
monopoly.
they didn't go dark with
work.
it.
It didn't work.
They tried the episodic thing,
But it didn't work.
but it didn't work.
But Justice League, or for instance, Man of Steel. I remember watching Man of Steel, being really excited about watching it. I like DC. I
Man
love
of Steel
Marvel
is
more,
Henry
but I
Cavill,
like
right?
DC. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember at a certain point in the movie, like the first one, being distinctly bored. And that was I made sure to watch every single DC movie before passing judgment. And every single point, at a certain point, I was like, okay, so dark. Oh my God, so ominous. And now I'm bored. Like, that was the thing with Marvel. I mean, aside from the fact that I love Marvel comics more, having read the comics.
For me, it's DC.
For me, it's always been Marvel.
Damn.
For me, it's always been Marvel.
I've read the
neither.
comics. I prefer
Plastic
the.
chadda.
I've read,
Chadda, bro.
I've read the comics, but so I think in terms of creative direction, now where Marvel potentially went wrong. Now I'm talking separate from the MCU. I'm talking X-Men. Now X-Men is going to join the MCU hopefully this year. But X-Men now. They were always really good. They were really entertaining. It was way before any of the superheroes came about. But then they decided to do a reboot of it, obviously, with all the cast being younger. Now, the first movie was really good because it was made like as an independent movie. It just so happened to have the X-Men characters. It had, what was it? James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, great cast, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
And then they decided to make it a franchise because obviously they were like, oh my God, this is
It's
gonna be
working,
amazing.
so we're making money, so
But then
then
it
might
didn't.
as well.
It didn't. The following movies could never live up. Maybe Days of Future Past, which was the third one, because that was actually really good.
That was.
But the fourth one, Dark Phoenix, which is one I was looking the most forward to,
Yeah.
which they had done in X3. They basically decided to redo it because X3 had failed miserably also.
Right.
For some reason, they can never get the story right. The story is iconic in the comic books.
Yeah.
I'd read a lot about it before and I always wanted to see it. And then it just
I would just say that
Died.
things will get better now since Deadpool has arrived. You know, he's bringing back Wolverine. I think things are going to get
Yeah,
better.
let's
Doctor
see.
Doom coming
I was
back.
just gonna say that a franchise that has actually worked really well for itself
Say it.
is Deadpool.
Yeah.
100%.
You know why that is, I feel? Because it's entirely Ryan Reynolds' creative direction.
Yes,
That's why.
Because he's genuinely passionate about it.
Yeah.
It's not some random boss sitting up in some tower making random decisions based off of numbers.
I think numbers
Exactly.
and money is the biggest
Yeah.
thing. I think Ryan Reynolds goes for what he feels is funny, goes with the story.
And it works.
And it works, right? I feel like the people in the seats that usually
High
call
tower.
these, in the high towers
No,
that
but
usually
poor
call.
guy.
I got that reference.
Poor guy had to fight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, and he fought for it for a decade.
For a while, yeah.
and
He poor guy had to do other really, really terrible
Terrible
movies
movies.
just
Green
for this.
Green
He had to do
Lantern, yeah,
X-Men,
Green
what was it,
Lantern.
Wolverine Origins or whatever that he was in, where he was playing
And
a
he
version
goes,
of Deadpool. It was
kills
awful.
his own version of Green Lantern in
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
post-credit
was
scene
so
in the
good.
movie.
Yeah.
Like,
It
it's so
was so
funny.
good.
And he knows what didn't work for him and he
Yeah.
owns it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ab dekho na, he brought back Fantastic Four character and
Yeah.
everybody
Bro.
thought it was going to be Captain America.
Yeah,
and
you're
he
like,
himself
"Flavor."
was like...
But Chris
I
Evans
died.
is fantastic. Oh, that was like
I
the best.
died.
He himself was
Honestly,
like,
Yeah.
Avengers, what? Flame
Yeah,
on?
yeah,
Okay.
it was so good.
And I
Honestly, by far the best cameo. But he also brought back like people whose franchises died. Blade, Wesley Snipes' Blade, Elektra, who never
R.I.P.
got
Blade.
anything. It was such a
My
good
name is Gambit.
But I'm glad they're not doing Blade
franchise never even took off.
because they would have ruined it. Blade,
Yeah.
the OG Blade, no one can do that.
No, I'm sorry,
The
but
Wesley
Mahershala Ali would have been such a good Blade though.
Wesley Snipes OG Blade.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
good.
It was very good.
उन्होंने
So
movie
good.
में they even said a dialogue, na, there'll never be
Another-
any other
another
Blade.
Blade.
Yeah.
Before we have to name this episode Marvel DC Universe, I think we should move to
Come on,
other
yeah.
movies that are
Yeah.
not Marvel and DC.
Now, since we were saying is creative direction the main way a franchise keeps itself going, and is it creative? This one you would have thought would have worked because the creative direction remained with the two people who made this movie and eventual franchise, Matrix Revolutions, and then Matrix. What was the last one called? Matrix Resurrections. Not so good.
Even
The Wachowski sisters were fully in charge and waited until they had the right story, which is why I was really thinking it was going to be great. There were good parts to it.
Honestly, in my head, nothing can beat the first one.
Yeah, honestly.
They should have just stopped when
After
they
the
were
first one.
Yeah, after the
Yeah.
first one, there was no need for 2 or 3 after that, or
Yeah.
however many have come after that. But the new ones that came out, I was like, reboots. Okay, they're not sequels, prequels, none of that. I will just take them as reboots and I will go and watch them as reboots with zero expectations. I feel like expectations are what kill
Yeah.
your franchises also, because the audience's expectations sometimes are so high, or sometimes like Madagascar. Okay,
That's a
I
bomb
That was a
franchise.
great
the
Yeah.
first one.
I loved it.
And I had no idea what I was going into. In fact, I dragged my dad into it also.
I love it.
And he thought we were going to watch some action
Same.
movie. Didn't tell him. And then halfway through, he's like, "Yeah, ads kab khatam ho rahe?" I'm like, "No, this is the movie." But all of us enjoyed it. And then the ones that came after, I kept watching them because I kept thinking, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, they're going to bring something really cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing." And slowly, it stopped being
It ju-
amazing.
yeah.
And then there was a Penguin movie spin-off. Then there was
Yeah.
another.
I mean, the same
Yeah,
vein,
again.
Shrek. The first Shrek is iconic. It's so good.
So I think the expectations versus
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah, we kind of kill it for ourselves.
We kill it
also.
for ourselves.
Yeah.
One personal fun fact. I started watching The Matrix after I saw Shah Rukh Khan do that one scene
No.
in Mehuna, and I was like, "Ye kahan se?" And then I read up on it. I was like, "Acha, ye Matrix se? Acha, Matrix ab dikhte hain."
I've still not watched The Matrix.
What have you
You know what?
seen?
I'm done
Welcome
with it.
to Educating Abdullah
The
Malik
end
on
of this
movies.
podcast. Like honestly,
Yeah, that's how I've been a bit. I was like, "Acha, I think I should go watch this."
Yeah, I think half the movie.
आप list लिखते
Yeah,
रहो.
Yeah.
basically,
You know
all the
what?
research I've done, I'll give it to you. You can watch all those movies.
if you guys think that we should have like a movie screening night where we put
Oh.
Abdullah on a throne in the middle and then we educate him about every film that we've ever talked about that he has clearly not seen and been living under a rock,
And we can broadcast it live.
Oh,
we can
no.
totally broadcast his reactions live. I think that would be an excellent.
No.
I would want to be
That's
part
a
of
great
this.
show.
I'd watch it.
110%.
I'd watch
I know
it.
till now we've discussed whether, a franchise worked or not. And I know that one of them is not, sorry, a little old school, so I've got some papers here. One of them is not here. Avatar. I just want to ask, because even CGI wala jo
Yeah.
aapka topic hai.
I mean, even Transformers.
Transformers still, I would say, by the end of it, you know,
Yeah,
बस
it
उसकी
started
एक
getting
ही
a
अच्छी
bit
बात
tied
थी
down,
कि
yeah.
Optimus Prime's
Yeah.
monologue.
I mean,
apart-
comes
that
hard.
that
What
monologue at the
time?
end of the first one, but before then Linkin Park song "What I've Done" comes out was honestly cinema history. I loved it. It was so
what
good.
about Avatar?
Avatar?
Do you want my unpopular opinion?
Yeah,
Sure.
I
You haven't seen it?
No, I've seen
You've
it.
seen, of course, you've seen
I've
it.
seen
You don't
both.
like it.
Yeah, I don't like
I
it.
don't
Did you like the
it
first
either.
one?
No.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I don't get the
okay.
hype. Sorry, guys. I just don't get the hype. It's my unpopular opinion, but I don't get the hype.
ठीक
I
है,
enjoyed
ठीक
the
है.
movie, but like when I first watched it. Now, when I first watched it, I was what, 12, 13. It came out in 2010, maybe.
Yeah.
But like the more as I watched it when I got older, I was just like, this is just some white savior complex happening, except with blue people. So now I don't really like it that much.
That's one way to put it.
The CGI was fine.
Have you seen Avatar?
Creatively, it was fine, but I just
So-
didn't like it.
Welcome to teaching Abdullah Malik
This
about
is the
movies.
re-education of Abdullah.
I was 10 years old and I did go to watch it. I watched it in the cinema. But you know how they take that, like, the choti?
Tail.
They take
Yeah.
that choti and
Choti.
they connect it to each other. So when they did that, I just, for some reason, was just so disgusted. I stopped watching the movie in the cinema. So I just was like...
I want
like,
to watch.
I
I want to watch every movie with Abdullah.
Abdullah now.
I can't, like,
Just-
give. I couldn't watch it after they, like,
ये चोटियाँ
connected.
connect हो रही है. Ew, Bluetooth connected. Disgusting. Shit.
But I saw that and I felt sick. So like halfway into the movie when they did that, I was like, I just didn't watch it.
Hey. Wow.
Something similar.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I thought the CGI wise, it was insane.
Oh,
Ahead of its
yeah.
time.
Ahead of, yeah.
And
ahead of the
even
curve.
Avatar 2, like, you know, it may seem very simple to a lot of people, but I was looking at the CGI and how all of that worked for Avatar 2 as well. I don't think people realize even just to render like 3 frames of like the hand going in water. First, they take one of just water being CGI, then a real shot, a practical shot. Then they layer it, they mask it. It's next level mehnat for like just the realism. So I think I can appreciate it as an art form. Like, wow,
No,
they put a lot of
absolutely.
With you.
attention to
100%,
detail.
100%.
But I don't see myself loving the films either.
You know, they still got the support. They, if I'm not mistaken, did about $1 billion or $2 billion more. The first part did more than the second
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
but the second one still is in the top
did
3.
very well.
Yeah.
But see,
absolutely.
funny enough, would it have been this successful aside from the fact the movements that they made in CGI was because of James Cameron's own like work. He actually worked on it,
100%.
right? If it wasn't a James Cameron movie, would it have been as successful?
Absolutely not.
But then it wouldn't have happened.
No, in the sense that, yes, you're right.
Very
In the sense
valid,
that the
very
idea for
valid.
Avatar came from a dream his mother had about 7, 8 foot like blue people. That's where it comes
No
from.
offense, but
dreams.
what was she drinking?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Blue juice.
But like he'd been working on it since like the 90s, since before he worked on Titanic. But that's the thing is like I feel like people are like, oh my god, it surpassed Titanic as the most like biggest box office ever. And I was like, is it because it's James Cameron that people are doing that, or is it actually because the movie was
But I
good?
think
No,
again,
because
like
he went all the way down there. There was so much hype before the movie came out. And even with Avatar, there was so much hype regarding the CGI, regarding all the science that went behind it, regarding all of that. Then when you actually watched the movie, everyone was like, oh, wow, colors,
Yeah.
you know? And okay.
I don't
but-
think colors.
But also like
It wasn't color, it was chotiyan.
yeah, clearly for Abdullah, yeah. But I
But
also
like
can't think-
beyond that, they
story
could have
was
also
simple.
spent a little bit extra time on creative scripts.
You guys need to watch Tamil movies. They
I
spend-
will not.
You know
I
what?
can't.
I have, and I love them.
Right?
I
Right.
love them. I
Right.
think they should. They don't get enough credit.
I
They
110%
should
agree.
be in the mainstream, like K-pop has become, or like generally K-dramas have become. Tamil. They need to change the name, make it cooler, like K, add a T. T-pop.
Tamil.
Tamil.
T-pop.
Ah.
And it should be mainstream 100%.
I have to start watching it in their own language. I read subtitles to bring it more.
the
you
real
know,
essence.
yeah.
That's a problem
crazy.
I have and why I can't watch stuff. I can't watch dub stuff. I just cannot. I need to watch in the original
same.
language.
That I
Original
understand.
language.
But then you get tired of just reading the subtitles. You can't like take in the
no,
entire
if
frame.
it's creative and interesting enough, and the script is creative enough, you will be able to.
And T-pop
That's what it
is.
was.
You
pop
can't
is.
know about that.
understand the entire thing. You can understand the gist of what's going
I
on.
love watching like Netflix original shows, like the Spanish shows in Spanish.
Yeah,
I really like
same.
it. I understand why
I
not.
only watch them in the
Yeah,
actual
original
intended
language.
language because
Yeah.
the dubbing, the syncing, it just
just
But
doesn't
makes me
work.
can I
feel
tell you
weird.
something? Money Heist for me, it was Ramzan,
Professor.
so I got too lazy. I couldn't read the subtitles, so I watched the dub version of Money Heist. And the funniest part is I started seeing memes at some point about the laugh of what's his name? Denmark? What's his name?
I don't watch Money Heist.
There's-
That's one
Yeah.
franchise
I
I
know
never
what
got
you're
into.
talking about.
Yeah, there's this Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, he has apparently a very iconic
All
laugh.
city names, yeah.
And I didn't know what his laugh sounded like because I was the dubbed version. So I was like, bro, is it the same laugh I'm thinking about?
You wanna ever enjoy like a dub, whatever? You
Yeah.
watch Deadpool in Urdu.
Punjabi,
Oh,
dude.
Punjabi.
Punjabi.
Twilight in Urdu.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was
No,
my
the
time.
best
in
movie, Friends
Punjabi,
in Punjabi.
is
Other than
epic.
And you know,
Yeah.
Seen that.
So
in
good.
India, when Deadpool was released, the Hindi dubbing was done by Ranveer Singh.
That's
for,
good. That's
for
kinda
Deadpool's
mad.
Yes.
character.
That's kind of mad.
I heard this somewhere.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
works.
And for in Lion
so
King,
works.
in Lion King for Mufasa and Simba, it was done by Shah Rukh Khan and his son.
That's actually good. No, that's mad.
Okay.
Okay, Shah Rukh Khan ke baare mein I can't. I'm with you on Spider-Man, but nothing about my Shah Rukh man. Okay. So what's the verdict, guys? Before
Yeah,
I know
we-
we can keep talking about this. Our
we can talk
producers
about
will.
movies
I
get
think we
fired.
forever.
should put it out to those guys because by now, if you're still watching this video, you know
hope
exactly
so.
where each of us stand on each of these franchises. But you guys tell us down in the comments. But before that, likes, share, subscribe, comment. And share again because it's not enough. But definitely comment and let us know what do you guys think.
Are any franchises dead for you?
Joker apparently, but yeah.
James Bond for me is dead, but
Next episode.
Yeah.
yeah.
Next episode. And don't forget to download our CityFM89 app. It is available on our Google Play Store and also on our App Store.
See you. Bye bye.
Stay tuned to CityFM89.